Novel Navigator. Chapter 91, Who is the Prey? On the bumpy earth, Jian Wushuang was vehemently fighting with a moonfire lion who was in the initial gold core realm. If he wanted to, Jian Wushuang could have easily killed the moonfire lion. But, it was obvious that he did not intend to do so. It's the third time that I've had a fierce fight with a spirit beast and deliberately made tremendous noises. Are there any dark silver guards around that will be attracted by it? Jian Wushuang was not sure because only other spirit beasts had been attracted the last 2 times. The intense battle continued for a while, and then Jian Wushuang very fiercely killed the moonfire lion. A silver-haired man, standing behind a nearby tree, watched this scene silently. At the moment, he concentrated his attention and then quietly rushed out. Beat the air again. Jian Wushuang felt pity as he went to pick up the core of the moonfire lion. At that moment, a slight wind came suddenly. Common warriors, even the warriors in the profound gold core realm might not have been able to sense such a light sound, but Jian Wushuang could hear the sound clearly because he had comprehended the sword essence of gale. He's finally come. Jian Wushuang felt happy, and in the next moment, he turned around and looked over. That warrior in silver was worthy of being a professional killer of the Dark Silver Guard. He picked a very good time for assassination, as Jian Wushuang had his back toward him. When he burst out, he directly stabbed at Jian Wushuang's neck with a purple soft sword. The sword was so fast, and the warrior in silver was full of confidence with this move. How wonderful the opportunity is! And what a perfect assassination! Even if he is a real expert in the profound gold core realm, he could not withstand my sword. There is no doubt that this guy is going to die, and the 17th golden dragon ring will be had. The warrior in silver smiled to himself, along with the smile on his face. But unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang, who had his back toward him the entire time, suddenly turned around with a pair of cold eyes. And then, Jian Wushuang grinned at him. That smile gave a sudden scare to the warrior in silver. Damn! As a dark silver guard, years of experience told him that he had fallen into a trap. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly fought back. Shua! A beautiful scarlet sword light blazed out and instantly confronted the purple soft sword of the warrior in silver directly. However, in the next moment, that scarlet sword light disappeared like an unreal image. When it appeared again, the sword had arrived at his chest. What? The warrior in silver was shocked. He was violently beaten back the first time. The scarlet sword light flashed across his chest. His silver cape was torn and a long wound appeared on his chest. How powerful! The warrior in silver was intimidated. He was not good at face-to-face slaughtering, he was in the profound gold core realm at least. However, when he fought with Jian Wushuang, he felt that he had gone through gate of hell after just one encounter. At this moment, the strength that was revealed by Jian Wushuang even horrified him. He should have had the self-confidence to take Jian Wushuang as prey just now, with the purpose of taking that golden dragon ring that was in his hand. But now it seemed. Out of the two of them, who was the hunter, and who was the prey? You are a dark silver guard, right? Jian Wushuang suddenly asked. Huh? The warrior in silver looked up at Jian Wushuang with astonishment. How could he know his identity? I have taken your purple soft sword. A grin spread over Jian Wushuang's face. Then, as he moved, the spiritual power in his body broke out while sword essence violently rushed into sky simultaneously. Shua! As it stabbed, the sword shadow made people feel that it was slow, but in fact, its true speed was so fast that it was scary. The fourth move of formless swordsmanship. 100 variations. The warrior in silver was scared and had intended to stop it, but that sword was too fast. When he just raised the purple soft sword in his hand, that slow sword had appeared in front of his throat and then pierced his throat directly. Jian Wushuang picked up the purple soft sword from the warrior in silver, and looked at the engraving 9 on its sword hilt. 2 purple soft swords. Jian Wushuang smiled, and then he checked the ring of heaven and earth left by the man in silver. As expected, like that dark silver guard from before, both of them had collected a lot of golden dragon rings. This time, there are 16 in total, which means that he had killed 16 golden dragon guards. Jian Wushuang was astonished. The true strength of these dark silver guards was actually not frightening, but their ability of assassination was indeed so strong that people in the profound gold core realm might be directly killed if they were careless. Keep moving. Jian Wushuang continued to go further in the innumerable huge mountains. Just like before, he stopped at each section of the road to find a spirit beast in the initial gold core realm and impetuously fight with them. He deliberately made it a big scene so he could attract the dark silver guards that came on their own initiative. But unfortunately, his luck seemed to have completely run out. Over the next 3 days, Jian Wushuang did not come across a third dark silver guard. In the innumerable huge mountains, a breeze blew with a mild bloody odor. "Be careful. Buck up," a man said in a low voice. And a small team with a dozen people slowly moved ahead in the jungle. Most of them in this small team looked pale, even some of their eyes were full of terror. Suddenly, the grass in the front shook. "Who is it?" A sudden shout was raised, and all the people in the team looked over at the grass. Crash! The grass then parted to 2 sides. A black-robed youth wearing a long sword slowly appeared in front of these people. It was Jian Wushuang. Huh! Jian Wushuang looked up at this small team of a dozen people without any astonishment in his eyes. The innumerable huge mountains were boundless. There were a lot of nature treasures and countless spirit beasts. It was a perfect place for warriors to cultivate themselves, so it was common to encounter other people occasionally. When seeing Jian Wushuang, the whole team felt nervous. But soon after, they perceived that Jian Wushuang was only a warrior at the level of spiritual C, so they relaxed. "Where does this reckless dude come from? Get out now," the team's leader, who had bird eyes, immediately shouted. "Someone in the spiritual sea realm dares to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains alone? You are really heading for death." The rest of the team members also laughed at him, which lightened the tense atmosphere at that moment. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. He was not angry about their words, but their expressions attracted his attention. These people obviously feel some degree of fear, Jian Wushuang thought. People who dare to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains generally have experienced life and death, so it's impossible for common things to make them feel scared. Unless, Jian Wushuang glanced at their hands quickly, and there surely were 4 people who wore golden dragon rings on their fingers. Chapter 92, The Mutation of Sword Soul. "It seems that I am being watched." With a cryptic smile, Jian Wushuang said nothing to the people in front, moving into the jungle quickly and vanishing from their view. After Jian Wushuang left, someone in the team started to talk. "What a surprise, I initially thought that he was that guy. Unexpectedly, he's a warrior at the level of spiritual C. A warrior with just a level of spiritual C dares to adventure in the innumerable huge mountains. He must be really bold." "I think he isn't bold, just suicidal." These 2 men were walking abreast and talking. Suddenly, a silvery ghost-like figure appeared in front of one man while a sword light stabbed at him. The man could react. After the sword light slashed across his throat, he was immediately killed. Just as quickly, the silvery ghost-like figure disappeared. "Hey, do you think that the horrible guy has left?" The other man was still talking to that man and looking towards him. He saw the corpse of that man slowly falling to the ground. "Oh!" The strong man screamed, and all the other members of the team came over for a look. "What happened?" they asked. "This asshole. It's him again. He's coming. The bad guy. He's coming again. Devil. Devil. He's a devil." Suddenly the whole team became restless and terrified again. It should be known that this team originally had over 30 people. But now there was just a half alive, the other half of them were killed by this devil. From start to end, they had not even seen the devil's face clearly. Whoosh! The sound of rushing wind was heard again. A silvery figure like a ghost moved swiftly and showed up in front of the strong man. The strong man saw a sword light with difficulty and then was killed directly. The silvery figure moved toward the jungle again. It's so easy to kill these people. The dark silver guard laughed. Shortly after he had just entered the jungle, he found a black-robed youth standing here. With his hand clasping his wrists behind his back, the black-robed youth watched him with interest. It seemed that the black-robed young man had been waiting for him. Who and what are you doing here? The dark silver guard felt surprised, but the black-robed youth in front of him had already started to attack him. The dark silver guard was outclassed by a formidable sword shadow filled with strong earth sword essence. The dark silver guard changed his countenance at once and hastily brandished his purple soft sword to parry. Bang! The sword shadow hit the purple soft sword and twisted it due to the powerful force. The dark silver guard felt his palm numb and a stinging pain. He flew out of the jungle and staggered back a few steps before standing firmly. Shua! All of the people in the team with more than 10 members looked at him together. Damn it! The dark silver guard said and had a ghastly expression. The 7th. The other silvery figure showed up at the side of the dark silver guard, staring with alertness at the black-robed youth who was walking towards them slowly. Oh! There are 2 guys. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and felt delighted secretly. Jian Wushuang followed the team before. Perceiving the countenance of the people in the team, Jian Wushuang guessed that they might be under surveillance of the dark silver guard. So he didn't leave and hid in the jungle. As he expected, the dark silver guard appeared. But lucky for him, the team was waylaid by 2 instead of only 1 dark silver guard. 2 for 1? Who are you? The man with bird eyes, the leader of the team, shouted to them immediately when he saw Jian Wushuang and 2 dark silver guards. All the other members took a deep breath and waited to see what would happen next. It's not a matter of who I am. You need to know that they're targeting to your team. And I am targeting them, Jian Wushuang laughed and said. Those 2 guys staring at us. The man with bird eyes looked at the 2 dark silver guards and said. The devils. Are them 2 warriors, who are in the profound gold core realm. Immediately, the whole team became restless. With a solemn expression, the 2 dark silver guards did not care about the man with bird eyes and his team, but they were afraid of Jian Wushuang standing in front of them. Although Jian Wushuang's cultivation of spiritual power was just at the level of spiritual C, no one dared to regard him as a common spiritual C realm warrior in terms of that movements he showed just now. Old 7th. We are exposed. It's not our strength to slaughter directly. We should leave now. Hurry up. The dark silver guard, who had never fought with Jian Wushuang, said. Okay. The other dark silver guard nodded heavily. Both of them transformed into beams of flowing light and fled into the jungle at the side. Haha. Do you think you can escape? A cold voice emerged and then Jian Wushuang stabbed at the 2 dark silver guards with his triple kill sword. The sword shadow moved so quickly and was like a flash of lightning streaking through the void. A gust of wind roared. The wind stopped and the swords fell to the ground at the same time. Everything returned to peace. The 2 dark silver guards' eyes widened in shock. They looked incredulously at their chests which had been poked through. The 2 dead bodies dropped to the ground at the same time. Jian Wushuang held the triple kill sword with blood dripping from the sword edge. I have already mastered the 5th move of the formless swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang's lips curled into a small smile. The 5th move of the formless swordsmanship was faster and more ruthless than the 4th move 100 variations. The sword was brandished. The wind stopped and then the sword dropped. The two dark silver guards were already dead. They are also warriors in the level of profound gold core realm, but are far from the disciples of Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang looked down at the two corpses, shaking his head secretly. The disciples of Dragon Palace were the talents who comprehended the essence realm of heaven and earth to a high level. At the Dragon Palace, a disciple of Dragon Palace in the level of profound gold core realm was able to compete with the warriors in the level of exceptional gold core realm. However, Jian Wushuang had beaten a disciple of Dragon Palace who was in the level of profound gold core realm. It was really easy for him to kill warriors at the level of gold core. Moreover, the formless swordsmanship he mastered was the ultimate sword skill which stressed speed. As long as Jian Wushuang used the fifth move of the formless swordsmanship, the two dark silver guards had no chance to struggle and would be killed immediately. After killing the two dark silver guards and picking up their purple soft swords and rings of heaven and earth, Jian Wushuang was far too busy to care about the shocked expressions of those people around him. He turned around and wanted to leave. After he had walked several steps, he stopped suddenly. "What?" Jian Wushuang said. With unprecedented shock in his eyes, he looked out into the distance. He still could see the vibrant jungle. But at this moment, there was a kind of strange feeling emerging in his heart. Meanwhile, a mysterious strength from the sword soul within his body gradually emerged. The sword soul, his sword soul was waking up. Although his sword soul was awakening, he didn't know what it was. He just knew that because of the awakening of sword soul, he could comprehend sword essence with an astounding speed. But now, it was his first mutation after the awakening of sword soul. Chapter 93, Abyss. Jian Wushuang had an odd feeling because he felt a sense of attraction. It seemed that something in front, not far away, was summoning and calling to him. To be exact, it was summoning and attracting his sword soul. What on earth is there? What is summoning me? Jian Wushuang leaped to a branch of a big tree, looking forward. Hesitating for a while, Jian Wushuang decided to investigate. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang directly rushed forward. And he also found that as he was getting closer and closer, his sword soul felt stronger and stronger. Likewise the attractive summoning power. In the meantime, Jian Wushuang rushed toward the source of that power. Meanwhile in the mountain forest where Jian Wushuang had killed two dark silver guards. Humph! Is it these two FK guys that killed so many teammates? The bird-eyed man and other teammates approached the corpses of the two dark silver guards. They thought the one that had spied on them and killed several dozen teammates was a devil, a demon. But now looking carefully, they found that they were also ordinary mortals without 3 heads and 6 arms and only possessed cultivation of profound gold core realm. Pooh! 2 bastards! Useless! The rest of the team were all cursing. Some of them were spitting at the two dark silver guards. No one noticed that a coquettish shadow had already appeared in a nearby tree. It was a lady with a bleak face. She was quite beautiful in silver, tightly holding a purple soft sword whose hilt was carved with the number 1. Lao Lu, Lao Chi. Standing in the tip of the tree, the severe-looking lady observed the corpses of the two dark silver guards at a glance and a frozen killing intent flashed in her eyes immediately. Are they? The frosty lady took action at once. They were still cursing when a coquettish shadow moved suddenly. Ah! Ah! 2 miserable shrieks sounded in succession. The next moment, they felt panic. Devil? Devil again. Hadn't he been killed already? Shit. He hasn't. He is coming again. Amidst those frightened voices, the blurry silver shadow moved, again and again, killing people crazily. Just after a while, there were numerous corpses on the ground. Dozens of teammates were dead except the leader, the bird-eyed man. But his arms had already been chopped off, he had lost the ability to struggle. Good for nothings. You aren't likely to kill Lao Lu and Lao Chi. Tell me, who killed them, the bleak lady turned up in front of the bird-eye man, interrogating. The bird-eyed man had been frightened into numbness and immediately told everything he knew. Spiritual Sea Realm. Lao Lu and Lao Qi were killed just by a spiritual sea realm. The bleak lady's face clouded over. When she waved her hands, a sword directly pierced through the bird-eye man's throat. And then she chased toward the direction where Jian Wushuang left. Pursuing the sense of fate, Jian Wushuang soon came to the convergence of two mountains. However, the convergence was cut off in the middle by a dark bottomless abyss. What is this? Jian Wushuang stood nearby the abyss, looking upon the bottom of the dark abyss where the chilly wind blowing. Swoosh! A chilly wind blew on both sides of the mountain wall with a crackling sound. Meanwhile, some mountain stones were blown off. Horrible wind! Jian Wushuang was astonished and knew where this was. The abyss is well deserved as the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Jian Wushuang looked grim-face. Before leaving for innumerable huge mountains, he had gotten a map of it. There was information about the natural dangers on it, including the abyss. The abyss, located at the convergence of two great mountains, was bottomless. There was a strong chill wind blowing into the abyss. The force of this chill wind was so terrible that rocks would be cracked into pieces, not to speak of the human body. However, a human warrior could generate a shield of spiritual power to forcibly withstand these chill wind. However, the most terrifying aspect of the abyss was absolutely not the chill wind, but its mystery. Since the abyss had appeared, over a long period, a great many strong warriors including some warriors of Yin-Yang Void Realm had attempted to explore it. But they only could enter within a kilometer. Once exceeding that, no one could get out alive. So until now, nobody knew what existed at the bottom and what the secret was. Unknown. Mysterious. As such, the abyss was so frightening and universally acknowledged to be the most dangerous land among innumerable huge mountains. Is it the abyss that attracted me all this time? There was a hint of shock in Jian Wushuang's eyes. The abyss was well known, mysterious, and terrible. What on earth was attracting him over there? Is it the ancestors' land that Ant had told me before? Jian Wushuang remembered it spontaneously. Ancestors' land. Jian Wushuang also did not know what it was. Ji Wu had told him to carefully keep the triple kill sword, the only token to enter the ancestors' land. In his view, it seemed that in the abyss, the only thing deeply attracting him was the ancestors' land. Of course, Jian Wushuang was uncertain whether it was the ancestors' land below the abyss. Even if confirmed, he dared not go down now. Seriously, it was the abyss. Among other things, he was unable to withstand the chill wind with his present strength. It was no different from going to hell if he entered the abyss impulsively. I should explore it after my strength is increased, murmured Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt very curious to find that there seemed to be a relation between the abyss and the ancestors' land. But what made him happy was the changes in his body. Sword Soul, are you completely awake? Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. Just on the way, his power of Sword Soul hidden in the body was continually improving, becoming stronger and stronger. Until now, the power of Sword Soul had reached a completely new level. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang also found that there was something new in his brain. Chapter 94, Crisis. In the vast sea of consciousness, a streak of sword-shaped phantom floated there silently, looking transparent and dreamlike, just like glass, but brighter than ever. The moment that Jian Wushuang recognized this streak, he knew that it was the Sword Soul. Previously, the Sword Soul just began to awaken and had not taken form yet. However, now the Sword Soul had awoken thoroughly and formed a solid sword-shaped phantom. I'm wondering what would happen after my Sword Soul evolved into the sword-shaped phantom. Jian Wushuang was curious, but now the sword-shaped phantom just silently floated in the sea of consciousness, so he could not find out anything. Maybe it would be helpful to my sense of sword essence. Jian Wushuang murmured with a smile. But at that moment, what? Jian Wushuang sensed a sudden feeling of fear, and he turned his head in a rush only to see an alluring silver figure dashing toward him with a purple soft sword. The chilling light reflected by the sword edge surprised Jian Wushuang, and the cold and murderous look in her eyes frightened him. So fast. Much faster and more terrifying than the 4 dark silver guards that I fought before. Jian Wushuang wanted to retreat, but obviously, the sword edge flickering with purple light had already approached him. Jian Wushuang had no time to take out his sword and parry, but he tried his best to force his body to one side. This move had allowed him to avoid hurting vital parts of his body. Shua. The cold sword edge crossed Jian Wushuang's shoulder, tearing his clothes up as blood spattered. A 2-centimeter blood stain emerged from his chest to his shoulder. Seeing this blood stain, even as tough as Jian Wushuang was, he could not stop a chill from going up his spine. Just at that moment, he would have been a dead person if he had reacted even a little bit slower. He could avoid hurting his vital parts. That cold-faced woman looked surprised when Jian Wushuang survived her attack, and then she retreated rapidly. Trying to escape now? Too late. Jian Wushuang shouted, and then he withstood the sharp pain from his shoulder, dashing out with the triple kill sword. A gust of wind roared. This sword movement. Having a look of fear, the cold-faced woman thrust out her purple soft sword. Clang. The 5th movement of the formless swordsmanship, which Jian Wushuang had used, was blocked by the cold-faced woman. She then fled into the woods behind Jian Wushuang. "Ha, do you think you can escape?" Jian Wushuang said with a snort and lifted the triple kill sword up high. His tremendous earth sword essence condensed gradually, forming a huge, 3-meter long and half-meter wide sword-shaped phantom. Formless sword wave, the 8th move. The majestic phantom quaked a little and directly slashed toward the woods, where the cold-faced woman was hiding. The huge sword-shaped phantom showed its power. The power struck heaven and earth. Immediately, a large number of trees collapsed, some were even pulled up from their roots. The cold-faced woman was exposed to Jian Wushuang at once. "Found you," Jian Wushuang said with a fleeting murderous gaze. What the cold-faced woman was deeply shocked by the big patch of rupturing woods. And at that moment, a gust of wind blew over that almost burst her head. Right away, she was buried in the wind. And then, the wind dropped and the swords fell on the ground. The surroundings totally calmed down. Jian Wushuang walked slowly toward the dead body of the cold-faced woman, with his hands covering the bleeding wound on his shoulder. The dead woman's wide-open eyes were filled with shock. A woman. Jian Wushuang looked down at the dead body. Although it was a woman, Jian Wushuang did not dare to underestimate her at all. It was this cold-faced woman that had nearly killed him. Leaning over to take her purple soft sword, Jian Wushuang stared at the number on the sword hilt. "Just as I thought." Jian Wushuang understood what happened when he saw the number 1 carved on the sword hilt. She was the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. Jian Wushuang was not surprised. The cold-faced woman was far superior to the Dark Silver Guards that he had met before. Just the time that she chose to attack, the speed that she burst in an instant, the determination that she had to kill, and the sword that she thrust out almost got him into big trouble. Only the leader of the Dark Silver Guard could possess such powerful assassination skills. Regarding the points reward of the Stage 2 missions distributed by the Dragon Palace, to kill an ordinary Dark Silver Guard could only earn you 1,000 points, to kill a leader of a Dark Silver Guard, however, was 3,000 points. Such a big difference between the points made it reasonable for such a great difference in their strengths. With this purple soft sword of the leader of Dark Silver Guard, I have finished my mission for Stage 2. Jian Wushuang sighed slightly and looked over his shoulder unconsciously. The nearly 2-centimeter wound from his chest to his shoulder was still bleeding. The blood had reddened his clothes. I need to first find a place to bind up the wound and recover a little. Jian Wushuang left there immediately. After half a day, near a stream in the innumerable huge mountains. Hum. The sword lights were brandished one after another. After binding up the wound, Jian Wushuang had started to practice his swordsmanship. The wound on his shoulder was indeed very severe, but the elixirs from the secret pavilion of the Dragon Palace were magical. After taking the elixirs for only half a day, the pain from the wound was alleviated, and he was getting better. He would recover in no more than 2 days. Flashes of sword shadows fleeted incessantly with straight stabbing or chopping, and every single sword rumbled with a slight heat. With Jian Wushuang practicing his swordsmanship faster and faster, the heat hidden in his swordsmanship became violent and fierce. Hua! Shouting out loud, Jian Wushuang brandished the triple kill sword and chopped into a giant tree beside him. Bang! The giant tree, tens of meters high, burst from the middle. Watching this, a trace of a smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. Sword essence of raging fire. So this is the sword essence of raging fire. After comprehending the sword essence of gale and the earth sword essence, Jian Wushuang had comprehended a third sword essence. Sword essence of raging fire. Sure enough, now that my sword soul has awakened totally, it is much easier for me to comprehend sword essence, Jian Wushuang said with a slight smile. Before the awakening, he had tried to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire many times, but always failed in the end. But now, he could comprehend the sword essence of raging fire with ease. There was only one reason that the sword-shaped phantom was formed in his sea of consciousness. After that, it was much easier and simpler to comprehend the sword essence. Chapter 95, Stage 3 Task. Such a pity. Though I comprehend some sword essence of raging fire, I don't have the appropriate sword skill to display it now. There is nothing to do but exchange the appropriate sword skill of sword essence of raging fire after going back to the Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang smiled and then leaped to the top of a big tree. Leaning against the tree trunk, Jian Wushuang took out the last task scroll. I've completed the stage 1 and 2 tasks. What is the stage 3 task? Jian Wushuang wondered with a slight expectation. He was assigned 3 tasks by the Dragon Palace this time. The first one was easy to complete. But the second one was much tougher, which almost killed him. And the third one? Jian Wushuang opened the scroll. After taking a glance at it, he unexpectedly stared with rounded eyes. On the scroll read some words. Stage 3 task, kill 10 spirit beasts of the exceptional gold core realm. Task location, the innumerable huge mountains. Task description, lots of spirit beasts live in the innumerable huge mountains and countless of them have reached the primordial gold core. Though being in the level of spiritual sea, you defeated a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm in a face-to-face battle. You are fully capable of killing spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Task points, whether these 10 spirit beasts of the fulfillment of the golden pill realm are strong or not, each one is worth 1000 points. Bringing their bodies back to the Dragon Palace will serve as proof. Shit. Even Jian Wushuang could not help cursing while reading the stage 3 task. To kill spirit beasts? Spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. A full 10 of them. Are they kidding? Those elders in the Dragon Palace must want me to go to hell, Jian Wushuang said to himself. In the task description, it referred to a disciple of the Dragon Palace who was a warrior in the profound gold core realm that was defeated by him face to face. Indeed, he did that. But how did he do it? It was not until Jian Wushuang made his opponent use up his spiritual power that he won the battle. However, he was completely suppressed when competing with Nangongji. Jian Wushuang clearly knew his strength. It was not a big deal for him to kill a common warrior in the profound gold core realm. But what about competing with the one in the exceptional gold core realm? He barely could compete with a common warrior in the exceptional gold core realm. He surmised that, in the end, he would be suppressed. And to kill spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm? Firstly, it was much more difficult to kill spirit beasts than humans because of their different physical conditions. Secondly, spirit beasts in the gold core had intelligence. If they found that they could not beat Jian Wushuang, they would flee rather than foolishly continue to fight with him or even continuously consume their spiritual power. More importantly, Jian Wushuang was not as strong as a spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm. Cruel. They are so cruel. Jian Wushuang cursed while gnashing his teeth. But the good news was that the task time was unlimited. Therefore, he could make good preparations before killing those spirit beasts. 3 days later, Jian Wushuang targeted an armored tiger in the exceptional gold core realm. The armored tiger was strong in defense capabilities but not so good in speed. Compared with others, it was relatively weak. At the very beginning, Jian Wushuang naturally chose a weaker one to fight with that was not a threat to him. Jian Wushuang quickly started to attack. Selecting the right time, he made a sneak attack. However, he did not get any advantage because the armored tiger reacted in time. Then, Jian Wushuang made good use of his swordsmanship and sword essence and started to fight with the shell-backed tiger. In this battle, the man and beast were neck and neck. However, the armored tiger chose to directly leave when it found that it could not beat Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang could do nothing but let it go. Fighting with the armored tiger, he could not prevail at all, let alone did he kill it. Well, take it easy. He sighed and then spontaneously overlooked the endless mountains and woods far away. He knew that he might have to stay in the innumerable huge mountains for a long time. Things happened just as he had expected. There were lots of spirit beasts in the innumerable huge mountains. Spirit beasts in the gold core were countless and spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm were also easy to find. Jian Wushuang wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains and fought with spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm one after another. Jian Wushuang felt great pressure when fighting with any spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm. He tried his best in each battle. Such crazy slaughtering vastly improved his strength. Especially after his sword soul had completely awoken, he distinctly comprehended sword essence much faster than before. Even so, it was 2 months later that Jian Wushuang succeeded in killing the first spirit beast in the exceptional gold core realm with great effort. As time went by, the hot summer had soon gone and so had the autumn. Instantly, the cold winter arrived. Jian Wushuang had wandered alone in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year. At the edge of the innumerable huge mountains, visible to the naked eye, a man who wore an animal skin and carried a long sword slowly walked out of the mountains. Judging by his appearance, he was a young man, but he had a calm and resolute face, and his exposed skin was bronzed. Even in the cold winter, this young man wearing thin animal skin did not feel cold at all. Innumerable huge mountains, I have finally gotten out. Jian Wushuang turned and glanced at the endless mountains and forests behind him. He smiled slightly with his mouth turned up. Staying in the innumerable huge mountains for more than half a year, he had suffered a lot and met with danger several times that almost killed him. If he took off his animal skin, many scars on his body would clearly be seen. Most of them were inflicted by the claws of spirit beasts, and some of them were by humans. Among them, a 20-centimeter scar that extended from his breast to his shoulder was the most evident. He had also improved himself so much over these 6 months. And of course, he had completed the stage 3 task. There were a full 10 spirit beasts in the exceptional gold core realm and their cores lying in his ring of heaven and earth. Walking along the official road, Jian Wushuang did not spend much time before returning to Moon Heart City. The Golden Dragon subsidiary palace of Moon Heart City was still bustling and boisterous. Jian Wushuang, in the animal skin, entered the Golden Dragon subsidiary palace and walked directly to the counter. A black-haired elder, who stood in front of the counter, had met Jian Wushuang half a year ago and knew his status. Therefore, when seeing Jian Wushuang again, he made a respectful face. "Your Excellency," the black-haired elder said in a low voice. No one else around them could hear it except for Jian Wushuang. I came here to tell you about the task. Jian Wushuang took out a blue-eyed beast with golden horns, handed it over to the elder and said, the task was assigned half a year ago. Please wait a moment, Your Excellency. Immediately, the black-clothed elder carefully looked at the task list and quickly found the task that Jian Wushuang had accepted to catch the two-clawed golden dragon guard. Chapter 96, The Target Appears. Your Excellency, please give me your golden dragon ring, the elder with grey hair said. Jian Wushuang handed him the ring without hesitation. Soon the elder returned it to Jian Wushuang and said, Your Excellency, the task has been confirmed. From now on, you are a two-clawed golden dragon guard of Golden Dragon Palace. Looking at the golden dragon ring, Jian Wushuang found that there were two claw marks which were the sign of a two-clawed golden dragon guard. Arrange a griffin for me, please. I'm going back to Dragon Palace, Jian Wushuang then asked. Okay. I will do it right now, the elder with grey hair said and nodded. At the very moment, a gentle middle-aged man in a white coat walked into the Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. Suddenly the Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace fell silent. All those present looked at that man. Yin Yang Void Realm. Is he a Golden Dragon ambassador? No, he isn't. He is, the governor of Blizzard City, His Excellency Lin Yun. Yes. He is. It is said that His Excellency Lin Yun is a very kind and respectable good elder. People in Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace were all in shock. It was very rare to meet such a super master of Yin Yang Void Realm. Jian Wushuang also looked over at that man. With a mild face, the gentle middle-aged looked elegant and cultivated, decent and smart. Besides, his eyes were very kind and warm. Generally speaking, a super master who was in Yin Yang Void Realm had an amazing deterrent power. But the gentle middle-aged man was very kind and friendly, which made it hard for people to fear him. Mr. He, the gentle middle-aged man walked to the counter softly said. Your Excellency Lin Yun. The elder showed great respect. I'd like to assign a task, please give me that task scroll, Lin Yun said very politely. Okay. Wait for a moment, please. The black-robed elder instantly went to take the scroll. Lin Yun waited in front of the counter with a slight smile. After looking around, he saw Jian Wushuang who was also waiting in front of the counter. Lin Yun suddenly felt stunned but he did not express it. Little brother, may I know your name? Lin Yun seemed to ask casually. Feeling startled, Jian Wushuang didn't expect that an elder of Yin Yang Void Realm would talk to him and instantly answered, I'm Swordsman. Swordsman. Lin Yun showed a quirky expression without saying more. Your Excellency Lin Yun, this is the scroll. The black-robed elder handed it over to Lin Yun and then looked at Jian Wushuang. Your Excellency Swordsman, your griffin is ready. You can go outside the city. Good. Jian Wushuang nodded and then left Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. After Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun instantly asked, Mr. He, what is that young man's status? He is just a warrior of spiritual sea realm. Why do you call him Your Excellency? Your Excellency Lin Yun. That young man is great, the black-robed elder said with great admiration. Great? Could he come from Dragon Palace? Lin Yun asked again. The black-robed elder slightly smiled but didn't reply. But Lin Yun had got the answer from his smile. It is him. Lin Yun laughed brightly, and then quickly put down his pen, turning and leaving. Your Excellency Lin Yun, you haven't assigned your task, the black-robed elder promptly asked him. I'll come back later. Briefly replying, Lin Yun departed Golden Dragon Subsidiary Palace. Outside the Moon Heart City, a golden armored sergeant riding a griffin was waiting there. After arrival, Jian Wushuang directly sat on the griffin and then left for Dragon Palace. As soon as Jian Wushuang left, Lin Yun suddenly appeared there. A griffin. Griffins flew so fast that Lin Yun couldn't catch up with it even though he was a powerhouse of yin-yang void realm. Staring at the direction where Jian Wushuang disappeared, Lin Yun lost his mild smile and turned cold. Turning his hand, he had a portrait. The young man in the portrait was quite similar to Jian Wushuang in appearance. It's him. Absolutely. It can't be a mistake. Scarlet must kill command. Jian Wushuang looked at the portrait. Lin Yun had an unprecedented killing intent in his eyes. No wonder they searched the whole Tianyang province but could not find Jian Wushuang. Because he had left Tianyang province and gone to Dragon Palace, being a disciple of Dragon Palace. Lin Yun clenched his fists. People only knew that Lin Yun was the governor of Blizzard City, who was a very gentle and respectable man with a good reputation. However, he also concealed another identity, a purple mask killer of Blood Feather Tower. I finally found him. I have to report it right away. Lin Yun immediately went back to report the news. The news shocked the whole Blood Feather Tower for a moment. Blood Feather Tower paid more attention to Jian Wushuang than to anyone, as he was the target of a scarlet kill command. In a dim study, an old man in grey stood there with his hands behind his back. And two black-robed men in purple masks stood behind him. Killers with purple masks, the best killers in Blood Feather Tower. In general, killers with purple masks were selected from super experts of yin-yang void realm. However, the two killers with purple masks now were standing respectfully behind the old man in grey. It could be presumed that the old man held an important status in Blood Feather Tower. It is confirmed that the target of Scarlet Kill Command is using the pseudonym of Swordsman. He has been in Dragon Palace for more than 9 months and showed his great talent. After 3 months, he has defeated a disciple of Profound Gold Core Realm and was able to pass through the 6th level of Dragon Gate, a killer with purple mask said respectfully. The old man in grey slightly narrowed his eyes, murmuring, "There are countless experts in Dragon Palace, the holy cultivation sanctuary. Even if all the purple mask killers of Blood Feather Tower attacked Dragon Palace at once, they would not be able to kill Jian Wushuang. Therefore, we cannot kill him until he leaves Dragon Palace again. Give out my order. Closely follow Jian Wushuang's every move from today. Report his behavior and experiences in Dragon Palace every 7 days. If there is a chance, the secret killer hidden in Dragon Palace should take action. His Excellency, Dragon Palace is a very hard to infiltrate. We paid a great cost to plant the secret killer in it. Should we sacrifice him?" a killer with purple mask instantly asked. "What do you know?" The old man in grey glanced at the killer with purple mask, snorting and saying, "As long as we can kill him, we will sacrifice the secret killer. If necessary, both of you could be sacrificed." Both two killers with purple masks were shocked by what he said. At the same time, they eventually knew what a Scarlet Kill Command was. Chapter 97, Exchange. Back at Dragon Palace, Jian Wushuang submitted his tasks. At Stage 1, 2,000 points were awarded. In Stage 2 of the task, Jian Wushuang received 4,000 points for killing 4 ordinary Dark Silver Guards and 3,000 points for killing the leader of the Dark Silver Guard. In Stage 3 of the task, there were 10 Spirit Beasts at the level of Exceptional Gold Core Realm. Each one was worth 1,000 points, and so the total points were 10,000. Therefore Jian Wushuang received a total of 19,000 points after adding up all 3 stages. Coupled with the 12,000 points won from the duel with Nangongji before, together with his own points, Jian Wushuang had an abundance of points now. After getting the points, he went to the secret pavilion immediately. In secret pavilion, firstly he needed to select a sword skill suitable for Sword Essence of Raging Fire. After picking and choosing, Jian Wushuang selected the sword skill of Blood and Fire. Sword skill of Blood and Fire was further divided into 2 volumes and its exchange price was 6,000 points. It was even more expensive than the formless sword wave that he had exchanged for previously. Subsequently, he received 3 notebooks again. These notebooks were left by 3 strong men who were at the top level of Yin-Yang Void Realm. The 3 notes had very detailed explanations for Sword Essence of Gale, Sword Essence of Earth and Sword Essence of Raging Fire, and helped Jian Wushuang a lot. Each one of these 3 notebooks was as valuable as the sword skill, and Jian Wushuang spent 6,000 points to exchange for these 3 notebooks. After that, Jian Wushuang began to exchange for some elixirs. 5,000 points for 1 bottleneck breaking elixir. He exchanged for 3 bottleneck breaking elixirs at a time, spending 15,000 points. 5,000 points for 1 golden sun pill which he redeemed. Adding this up, it cost him another 20,000 points. I thought my points were quite a lot, but now there isn't much left. Jian Wushuang sighed inside. After all these things had been exchanged, he had only 3,000 points. But all these things were extremely useful. Especially the sword skill of blood and fire and those 3 notebooks. Both the bottleneck breaking elixir and the golden sun pill were used to prepare for his breakthrough. After he swallowed first-class heavenly spirit pill for half a year when he was in the innumerable huge mountains, and coupled with his speed at cultivating due to the heavenly creation skill, his spiritual sea had expanded to the extreme and was at the peak of ultimate spirit sea after half a year, with boundless spiritual power. After this step was achieved, the next was to break through to gold core by any means. Bottleneck breaking elixir, just as its name implied, was to break the barrier. After swallowing 1 bottleneck breaking elixir, people could quickly touch that barrier, thus they had a chance to achieve a breakthrough. As for golden sun pill, it was used when making a breakthrough. After all, there were risks when making a breakthrough, because sometimes the barrier still could not be broken through even if they touched it. However, the golden sun pill could minimize this risk. These 2 kinds of elixirs, with astonishing high value, were extremely rare in the outside world. Even in the secret pavilion, 5,000 points was needed for only 1. At a lofty palace of the Dragon Palace. "My lord, Swordsman is coming back," a purple-robed servant of Dragon Palace said. "Oh." With brow lifted, Palace Master White said, "Has he finished his experience tasks?" "Yes." Purple-robed servant nodded. "His experience tasks were arranged and carefully selected by me in person. I thought he needed at least 1 year to finish all these tasks, while it only took him half a year to finish them." "Well done," Palace Master White said with a smile. She thought highly of Jian Wushuang. It was because of her high opinion that the arranged experience tasks were more challenging, since these tasks for Jian Wushuang were arranged and selected by her in person. He received sufficient points this time and should go to the secret pavilion to exchange for treasures. "What did he exchange?" the Palace Master White asked again. "This is the list of the treasures he exchanged for." A purple-robed servant immediately handed over a list. 3 bottleneck breaking elixirs and a golden sun pill. Palace Master White nodded slightly. It seems that he is ready to remove the barrier of reaching primordial gold core. 3 sword essence notebooks left by the strong. Palace Master White smiled, with the normal expression. When she saw the last thing on the list, she frowned. Sword skill of blood and fire. People start to study that when they have comprehended sword essence of raging fire, so why did Swordsman exchange for it? Palace Master White knew that Jian Wushuang had comprehended both sword essence of the gale and the earth, but he had never comprehended sword essence of raging fire. Comprehending various sword essence at the same time can indeed result in stronger combat power, but everyone has limited energy, and becoming distracted will limit his achievements in the future. I hope this little guy is aware of this. Maybe he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. Palace Master White secretly thought. Treasures in the secret pavilion of Dragon Palace could be exchanged by the disciples of Dragon Palace as long as they had enough points. As for the usage after exchanging, it depended on the disciple, as he could give the sword skill to others after he had exchanged for it. At this moment, Palace Master White also hoped that Jian Wushuang had exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for someone else. If he exchanged sword skill of blood and fire for himself, he would be too stupid. In the manner, Jian Wushuang had been taken away by Wang Yuan for a drink as soon as he came back. The third, took a full 6 months to complete this time. Wang Yuan sighed. Tell me, what were your tasks for stage 2 and stage 3, and why did it take you so long to finish them? Without any hesitation, Jian Wushuang directly told him his tasks and the process briefly. F***ck, 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm. Wang Yu's eyes widened in shock. 10. Suro could not help gasping in astonishment. Have you finished? Wang Yuan asked again. Of course, how could I come back without finishing the tasks? Jian Wushuang laughed. **T, you are too strong, Wang Yuan smiled and said, you are just at the level of spiritual sea realm, even without a breakthrough of gold core, and you could kill 10 spirit beasts of exceptional gold core realm. You are formidable. Just had good luck, Jian Wushuang smiled. Only he himself knew how hard and arduous it was in the past 6 months to complete the task of killing 10 spirit beasts at the level of exceptional gold core realm. And where is the second? Jian Wushuang asked. When he came back, he saw Wang Yuan and Suro, without Yang Zexuan. The second's experience tasks were easier than yours, and he is also so powerful, so it took him only a month to finish all the tasks of 3 stages. However, he received a new experience task after he just returned Dragon Palace, and he hasn't come back yet, Wang Yuan said. Another experience task. Jian Wushuang sighed. The second was stimulated by the Earth Dragon list, and thus he is cultivating much more than anyone else, Wang said. Earthly Dragon list. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. He also longed for a placing on the Earth Dragon list very much, but his strength was still far from it. The second works very hard, so I also should work harder, Jian Wushuang smiled. Chapter 98, Excoriation. It was night, within the empty ground of a manor. Zoom. 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 Streaks of scorching sword shadow were chopped out fiercely one after another, and the high temperatures seemed to burn the air. Soon after, Jian Wushuang sheathed his sword and stood still. As a 6,000 point valued sword skill of blood and fire is way better than formless sword wave in the term of power, and its moves are more exquisite. I can only execute the 5th move with my current ability. I have to study for a period of time before executing the 6th move, Jian Wushuang said to himself. However, it would definitely shock many if they knew that Jian Wushuang could execute the 5th move of sword skill of blood and fire. If a man could execute the 5th move of sword skill of blood and fire, it meant that he could pass the 7th level of Dragon Gate without difficulty. Everyone in the Dragon Palace knew that Jian Wushuang was most versed in the sword essences of both the gale and the earth. In addition, the sword skill of blood and fire was just exchanged from Secret Pavilion that day. Early morning the next day, Jian Wushuang entered the Hall of Fire, which was one of the 4 halls of earth, fire, water, and wind. Today, a palace master would give a lesson in the fire temple. Although Jian Wushuang had comprehended the sword essence of raging fire for half a year, he comprehended it by himself. Therefore, in the Dragon Palace, he would listen carefully to the palace master. Casually sitting in the corner of the fire temple, Jian Wushuang relaxed with closed eyes and awaited the palace master. The surrounding disciples of Dragon Palace looked at him from time to time with a weird gaze. He's Swordsman. Why does he come here? People in the fire temple comprehended the fierce fire realm, but Jian Wushuang has comprehended the sword essence of gale and earth. Does he want to comprehend the fierce fire realm? A man can comprehend 3 realms at the same time. Are you kidding me? Swordsman is too ambitious. The more ambitious he is, the more foolish he is. Trying 3 realms at the same time. Who is he? You are right. It's exceedingly hard to comprehend two realms at the same time. Even a peerless genius would suffer from fatigue if he comprehended three realms. Those disciples of Dragon Palace chatted with each other casually. Their voices were not loud, but not quiet, either. They did not care whether Jian Wushuang heard it or not. Whatever they said, Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to them. He was still relaxing with closed eyes. Soon after, the palace master of the fire temple arrived. He looked at Jian Wushuang with amazement, and then sat and gave a lesson with his legs crossed. After an hour, this palace master of the fire temple waved goodbye and the listeners started to leave. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and a smile emerged. Since half a year ago, I have poured through the sword principle of fierce fire alone. I was confused about many things. However, the confusion has been cleared up after the palace master's lesson. Jian Wushuang was satisfied with this lesson. He had benefited a lot from it and was enlightened in many aspects. After that, Jian Wushuang left. In the palaces of the Dragon Palace, white-robed Palace Master White was walking slowly. Palace Master White. A figure appeared suddenly in front of Palace Master White. Temple Master Yao. Palace Master White smiled. Did you finish your class? It is finished. Their comprehension depends on themselves. Temple Master Yao gave a slight smile and said, I came here for a reason. I saw the little disciple Swordsman in the class when I was imparting knowledge, Temple Master Yao said directly. What? Palace Master White was shocked and said, Did Swordsman go to your class? Yeah. Temple Master Yao nodded and said, The brat is noteworthy in the Dragon Palace. His potential absolutely could rank in the top 5 amongst all disciples of the Dragon Palace. That's why I informed you about him. I see. A serious expression emerged on Palace Master White's face. The next thing depends on you. You should exhort him not to waste much time comprehending the fierce fire realm. I'll leave, Temple Master Yao said and then left. Palace Master White stood there with a saturnine and gloomy expression. I didn't expect that Swordsman would try to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire. Doing 3 things at the same time. Comprehending 3 sword essences at the same time. What is he thinking? Palace Master White gave a cold humph and then directly went to the manor where Jian Wushuang lived. In the manor, Jian Wushuang was practicing his sword skill diligently. Swordsman. Palace Master White appeared. Palace Master White. Jian Wushuang put away his sword and paid his respects. I have heard that you have exchanged for the sword skill of blood and fire in the secret pavilion yesterday and attended the class of Temple Master Yao. Do you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire? The expression of Palace Master White grew cold. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. Stupid. Idiot. Palace Master White was mad. The martial arts way is fraught with troubles. You are a young talent and have deep comprehension of the sword essences of Gale and Earth. It's highly possible for you to combine the Gale realm with Earth realm in the future. You will be amongst the top ranks if you are in the Yin-Yang Void realm. It's also likely for your strength to equal or even outclass the palace masters of the 4 halls of Earth, Fire, Water, and Wind. You are promising and our Dragon Palace also possesses the hope to cultivate one more top powerhouse. I have far higher expectations from you. But now, you are so overconfident that you want to comprehend the sword essence of raging fire. The cold gaze hardened in Palace Master White's eyes. Do you know that nobody has endless energy? Doing 2 things at the same time is the limit. Doing 3 things at the same time is ridiculous. I know that you think your strength will grow if you comprehend 3 sword essences at the same time. However, you will bear a greater burden. In history, some geniuses of the Dragon Palace had a higher comprehension than you. However, they could only comprehend 2 realms at the same time. Yes, there have been geniuses who comprehended 3 realms at the same time, but do you know their results? Take Ling Wuxiao, a genius about 10 years ago in the Dragon Palace, as an example. He was a matchless genius. He comprehended 3 realms at the same time and combined them perfectly. When he was in the initial gold core realm, he could kill a powerhouse who was in the exceptional gold core realm. He was way better than you. However, his speed of comprehending the sword essence became slower and slower. His cultivation was even stalled in a small bottleneck for many years. And his speed of improvement was also lower and lower. Finally, he was overtaken by other geniuses. Hearing that, Jian Wushuang felt overwhelmed. He didn't realize that he would be excoriated as soon as Palace Master White met him. Swordsman, you should recognize that the road of cultivation will not be reset if you go awry. Do you understand what I said? Palace Master White looked at Jian Wushuang. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded. Jian Wushuang was acquainted with what Palace Master White said. Okay. I have great faith in you. I believe that your future achievement will be greater than those of Bai Cheng and Sulai. Therefore, you can't let me down. Palace Master White became calm. Okay. I have said what I should say. How you walk depends on you. Go ahead. After saying that, Palace Master White left. Chapter 99, Bold Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang stood with a solemn expression. Palace Master White is right. To learn 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time is to do 3 things simultaneously. It is too difficult. But that is only for ordinary geniuses, not for me. Jian Wushuang didn't think he was superior and better than other geniuses. However, his circumstances were quite different. I practice the heavenly creation skill. It is a defiant form of cultivation. It is different from others. I have also awakened my sword soul and have completely mastered it, while others have not. Jian Wushuang clearly knew what road he should take. The burden was really too heavy for others to master 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. But it was easy for Jian Wushuang to do it for his sword soul which had awakened. After staying in the innumerable huge mountains for half a year, he learned 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time, which was equal to doing 3 things simultaneously. But he still comprehended them at an amazingly fast speed, way beyond anyone's imagination. There were only 3 kinds of sword essence, which was definitely not his limit. If there was a chance, he was even eager to study the 4th sword essence of dripping water. After I have completely awakened sword soul, the speed at which I study the sword essence is much faster than others. With such a powerful sword soul, if I only concentrated on studying sword essence of the gale and the earth, I would be wasting all my talent. Jian Wushuang's eyes were resolute. He agreed with Palace Master White's opinion, but he would not follow that advice blindly. After all, he decided on what path he would take. 2 days later, the temple master Yao in the fire temple gave another lecture, and Jian Wushuang went there to listen once more. When Jian Wushuang appeared again, temple master Yao showed a little weird expression. In the lecture, temple master Yao directly said, "On the road of martial arts, do not get distracted. It is necessary to remember to devote yourself to studying one road until the end. Then the ultimate result you will achieve will be much better than those who are distracted." Temple Master Yao casually said it, but many disciples of Dragon Palace who listened to the lecture knew that he was talking about Jian Wushuang. So did Jian Wushuang. But he just shrugged with resignation. After Temple Master Yao finished his lecture, many disciples of Dragon Palace went out of the temple one after another. After leaving, Jian Wushuang indistinctly heard people discussing. Who did you think the words of Temple Master Yao referred to in today's lecture? Undoubtedly, he referred to Swordsman. Well, I guess so. He is particularly gifted at sword essence of the gale and the earth. However, he is insatiable, even expecting to master the sword essence of raging fire. He is so courageous that he could learn 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. It has been so hard for me to obtain one kind of essence. It is said that Palace Master White had warned him in person not to do too many things at one time. However, it is obvious that he is not following her advice. He is too arrogant to follow the advice of Palace Master White. In a manner of Dragon Palace, Nangongji as well as other two disciples of Dragon Palace gathered together and talked about Jian Wushuang. Haha, that swordsman is so bold and naive that he doesn't even listen to Palace Master White. He insists on studying sword essence of raging fire. He will soon come to an unfortunate end. Learning 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. Who does he think he is? What an idiot. I am treating him as my opponent but never expected that he is such an idiot. Haha. Nangongji crazily and madly laughed. He was very jealous of Jian Wushuang and bitterly hated Jian Wushuang. The reason for jealousy was that Jian Wushuang had made such great progress after he joined Dragon Palace for only 3 months. He hated that Jian Wushuang had defeated him in front of so many people that he lost all his face and his 12,000 points were gone. Now, Nangongji was very pleased to know that Jian Wushuang was so arrogant as to study sword essence of raging fire. However, Palace Master White, who warned Jian Wushuang, was furious after hearing that Jian Wushuang did not follow her advice and continued to study the sword essence of raging fire. Bastard! Arrogance! Ignorance! This guy, does he really think he is so great? Palace Master White was so disappointed about this. There were lots of disciples of Dragon Palace, even many outstanding and talented people, such as Bai Cheng and Sulai, who were senior people, and even Yang Zexuan, who passed the 8th level of Dragon Gate as soon as he came into Dragon Palace. However, she thought most highly of Jian Wushuang as he progressed so quickly, and she hoped that he would obtain huge achievements in the future. But now, Jian Wushuang was not satisfied with sword essence of the gale and the earth. He insisted on studying sword essence of raging fire. How could she not be sad or angry? Let it go. Palace Master White suddenly calmed down and said, he chooses his own way. Others can't force him to change. Since he wants to take the extreme way, just leave him alone. It's a shame given his talent. Alas. Palace Master White slightly sighed and quickly stopped thinking about it. After that, she put Jian Wushuang to a lower level in her heart. In the manner. Lao San, I hear a lot of disciples of Dragon Palace talking about you, and they say you are at the fork of your cultivation. What's exactly going on? Wang Yuan asked with frowning. I also heard about it. Suro said. There is nothing special, Jian Wushuang immediately told them briefly. Lao San, Palace Master White had warned you in person not to study the sword essence of raging fire. Should you not follow her advice? Wang Yuan asked, feeling surprised. Although what Palace Master White said made sense, I'm the one that knows myself best and exactly what to do next, Jian Wushuang replied. Really? Wang Yuan stopped frowning and immediately laughed. Lao San, I trust you. Since you think this choice is right, it is certainly right. As for others, nobody cares what they are thinking. Even Palace Master White may be wrong. Obviously, Wang Yuan disagreed with what Palace Master White said. I agree with you. You should go your own way. What other people say is just a reference, Suro said. Jian Wushuang felt touched and warmed to the bottom of his heart, affectionately looking at Wang Yuan and Suro. Well, it's time for you to work hard at cultivating. Then your strength will prove that you were right when others look at you, Wang Yuan said and laughed. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. As time passed, Jian Wushuang persisted in cultivating his own way, ignoring the disciples of the Dragon Palace doubts. Whenever there was a temple master of fire temple using swords, Jian Wushuang would get there to listen to their lessons. Thus, his comprehension of the sword essence of raging fire did not fall behind at all. 7 days passed quickly. In his manner, Jian Wushuang finished practicing swordsmanship and was sitting beside the stone table. He took out a pot of wine and drank it. 10 days passed. After getting the bottleneck-breaking elixir, I immediately swallowed it. But I didn't sense the sign of a breakthrough until now. It seems that the first bottleneck-breaking elixir is unable to take effect. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. Chapter 100, Going Through the Dragon Gate Pass Again. Bottleneck-breaking elixirs offered Jian Wushuang the possibility of breaking through the bottleneck. But it might not work. Jian Wushuang thought it was normal that he could not break through if he only took one bottleneck-breaking elixir. Therefore, Jian Wushuang swallowed another bottleneck-breaking elixir. I hope the second bottleneck-breaking elixir works. Jian Wushuang expected. At this moment. Haha. It's so boring to drink alone. With a bright laugh, a burly scarlet-robed man who carried a saber was walking here. Sulai. Jian Wushuang lifted his brow. Why are you so free to come here today? Jian Wushuang invited Sulai to sit down with a smile and then took out a pot of wine. As for Sulai, Jian Wushuang did not mind him and even had a favorable view of him. Although Sulai had vanquished him in front of many people, it was a fair defeat using Sulai's strength without any tricks or schemes. Jian Wushuang accepted it. It was a good thing for him to be vanquished by Sulai because he could have a deeper understanding of the Dragon Palace at least. Actually, it is Palace Master White that let me come here. Sulai took up the wine above the desk and directly said. Palace Master White. Jian Wushuang was surprised. To be honest, Palace Master White has faith in you. After hearing about you comprehending the sword essence of raging fire, she immediately exhorted you not to do it. But you ignored it? She asked me to come here because she didn't want to lower herself to exhort you again, Sulai said with a smile. Okay. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded and said, what Palace Master White said makes sense. However, I have my own reasons to insist on doing this. I understand. Sulai laughed and said, therefore, I don't want to remind you further. However, I have to let you know that was following the directive of Palace Master White when I competed with you last time. Oh. Jian Wushuang was really surprised. Was it Palace Master White that ordered Sulai to violently compete with him last time? As a rookie, it might not be a good thing to be too outstanding. Therefore, Palace Master White asked me to dampen your pride. In fact, it was good for you, Sulai said. Ah. Jian Wushuang immediately understood. The birth of the expert was like iron tempering iron. So, Swordsman. Palace Master White is truly good to you. It doesn't matter if you don't follow her advice, but you must work hard. You should be sure not to let her down, Sulai said. I will keep that in mind. Jian Wushuang nodded. Haha. You should certainly do so. I have said what I came here to say. I have also drunk wine. Now, I have to leave. Sulai smiled and then left. In front of the stone table, Jian Wushuang sat there alone, staring at the flagon with calm. What Sulai said is right. Palace Master White is good to me. I can't let her down. Now. I should verify that the road I chose is right. The top rule of the world was that whoever possessed the strongest strength was the king. Now, everyone looked down on him and regarded him as a man filled with hubris. Nobody would dare to doubt him if his strength improved to an unprecedented height. This kind of strength needed proof. In the Dragon Palace, the most suitable place to verify his strength was the Dragon Gate. In front of the huge golden penthouse, after entering Dragon Palace, two disciples of Dragon Palace were casually chatting with each other. Very good. You even competed with the level keeper on the 5th floor for such a long time. You will complete the 6th floor soon. Haha. Not too bad. It's better than last time at least. The two disciples of Dragon Palace were on the 5th floor but their talents were just average in Dragon Palace. Suddenly, the black-robed young man Jian Wushuang slowly walked over carrying a long sword. Look. Swordsman. It's him. Does he also want to enter the Dragon Gate Pass? The two disciples stopped and looked toward Jian Wushuang. Under their gazes, Jian Wushuang directly entered the Dragon Gate. He has entered the Dragon Gate. Which floor will he be able to reach? At least the 6th floor. He has the strength to make it after he vanquished Nangongji. Now 6 months have passed, passing the 7th floor is not a surprise. The two disciples were talking. They did not hurry to leave, quietly waiting. In the Dragon Gate, Jian Wushuang began at the 5th floor because he had gone through the 4th floor last time. The level guardian of the 5th floor was a green-robed man who had comprehended the earth sword essence. Jian Wushuang was defeated by the green-robed man when he went through the Dragon Gate Pass first time. Now 9 months had passed, Jian Wushuang competed with him again. However, the green-robed man was defeated by Jian Wushuang with just one move. Jian Wushuang went through the 5th floor of the Dragon Gate. Following the 6th floor. In a magnificent palace, Palace Master White sat on a chair and flicked through a book. The book recorded the comprehensions of a top expert. Palace Master White had been studying it closely over this period. Although she was a master of the Dragon Palace, there were still powerhouses stronger than her in terms of strength within Tianzong dynasty. Thus, she had to continue to cultivate. Suddenly, the gate of the palace was opened. Your Excellency. Palace Master. A purple-robed servant rushed in front of Palace Master White. What happened? Palace Master White put down the book and looked toward the purple-robed servant. It's Swordsman. He is going through the Dragon Gate, the purple-robed servant replied. Swordsman. Palace Master White raised her eyebrows. In the past, she did think highly of Jian Wushuang. But now, the status of Jian Wushuang in her heart was lower than before. However, she still asked, it's not surprising for Jian Wushuang to go through the Dragon Gate because he is a disciple of the Dragon Palace. He has gone through the 8th floor, the purple-robed servant said. So what? Palace Master White still did not care. But he went through the 8th floor merely by virtue of his sword essence of raging fire, the purple-robed servant said again. What? Palace Master White changed her expression. If Jian Wushuang merely went through the 8th floor, Palace Master White would not be surprised. After all, Jian Wushuang could almost go through the 7th floor when he vanquished Nangongji. He would surely make a great progress with his talent after going outside to cultivate for 6 months. Palace Master White expected Jian Wushuang to pass through the 8th floor. However, it was totally different if he went through the 8th floor merely by virtue of his sword essence of raging fire. It should be known that Jian Wushuang initially comprehended the sword essences of the gale and the earth. The sword essence of raging fire was comprehended later. She was angry about it. Jian Wushuang could go through the 8th floor merely by the sword essence of raging fire. Which floor would he go through if he also executes the sword essences of the gale and the earth? Are you sure? Palace Master White stood and looked at the purple-robed servant solemnly. It's true. The level keeper of the 8th floor told me that, the purple-robed servant replied. After obtaining verification from the purple-robed servant, the expression of Palace Master White grew more solemn. Go. Go to the Dragon Gate. Palace Master White forsook what she was doing and directly walked toward the Dragon Gate. At the same time, it completely shocked the whole Dragon Gate.